A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. As the disciples were gathering in Galilee, Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him, and on the third day they will be raised." And they were greatly distressed. When they reached Capernaum, the collectors of the temple tax came to Peter and said, "Does your teacher not pay the temple tax?" And he said, "Yes, he does." And when he came home, Jesus spoke of it first, asking, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tribute? From their children or from others?" When Peter said, "From others," Jesus said to him, "Then the children are free. However, so that we do not give offense to them, go to the sea and cast a hook. Take the first fish that comes up, and when you open its mouth, you will find a coin. Take that and give it to them for you and for me." Well, now Jesus is just showing off. This is an interesting story. You have to follow closely what's going on. There's a lot in it. Jesus has just predicted his death. That's a little upsetting to his disciples. They're walking along and they get what feels like kind of a housekeeping, a business matter. The temple tax collector comes along and says to Peter, you guys have been teaching. You need to pay your dues, as it were, to be teaching in this space. So are you going to do it? Jesus then gives his disciples a lesson in two things. One is that while Jesus winds up ultimately being sacrificial, he has just predicted his own death. He has just predicted how his earthly ministry will end. He's not afraid of that, but he is strategic and tactical in the way that he moves in the world. And so for those who tend to think of Christians as people who either are or should be naive in the way that they deal in the world, Jesus himself shows us, the one after whom Christians model our lives, shows us that you pick your battles. And that's what he's doing here. He says, so this is not the place to ruffle a feather about the temple tax in this, frankly, small town in Nowheresville, Galilee, where they're just asking us to basically pay dues for the privilege of being a teacher there. He does, however, say, we're going to pay the tax, but here's how we're going to pay it. And then he sends Peter on what is, of course, a ridiculous mission. I'm sure they had the money to do this anyway, lying about. He sends him just so that Jesus can demonstrate and so that Jesus' disciples can be entirely clear about the fact that Jesus, who is demonstrating his connection to the creation, to the creator of the universe, his ability to bring forth from the seas a fish with a coin in its mouth so that can then be taken to pay the tax. That's just showing off, Jesus. We know you've fed the 5,000. We know you've stilled the storm. We know you've walked on water. And now, in order to pay a simple tax, you're just continuing to drive the point home to your disciples that while you are here and you are living your absolutely human life, there is something about you that is also beyond human existence. And this ability, so often, the stories tell us, and they were awed. They saw him command the waves and the wind, and they saw him command the universe and creation. And this is another one of those little signs that Jesus gives to his disciples, just to let them know, yes, this is all unfolding in our human story, but there is something else going on here. Says Jesus, I am so intimately connected to God, the creator of this universe, that I am able to bring about miraculous signs like this. So Peter, I'm sure, goes off, and we don't really get that in the story, whether he goes and does it or not, or if he simply goes to the dresser drawer and gets the tax. But Jesus has let them know once again, in yet another way, that what they're involved in is fully human and yet very much suffused with divinity, with divine energy. And this is right before Jesus goes off to the mountaintop and we experience the transfiguration. So as we are thinking about our own lives, they are fully human. I'm sure we are getting little notes from tax collectors ourselves, or the equivalent of that. We are very much embedded in, thanks be to God, embedded in a human existence here with all that entails, its glories, its tedium, its challenges. but we are also doing so in a world that is shot through with God's grace, with God's divine power and liberating love. And it is in stories like this from Jesus' life that we see the pattern, and we understand that our own lives unfold in this same field of both material, created reality, and also divine grace and power. May God be with you this day as you navigate that world of reality in all its forms, and may God bless you and keep you this day and always. Amen.